This is my review of episode 19 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Black Flash. So we open to Kamo, Fushiguro, and Inumaki running through the temple. Hanami's roots are chasing them down the halls as they're running. They get to a point where Hanami's ready, creates these spears and sends them out, and Inumaki tells him to stop, and he stops, and he's suppressed. Kamo uses a move. He first has convergence, and then he uses a move called piercing blood, and he shoots it out. It actually manages to cut Hanami's face, and Kamo says, "We gotta run." He can't move or something like that. So that to me confirms that Hanami's male, and I was right in calling him he. And also Fushiguro realized that Kamo's holding back in their fight. So they were both holding back. Fushiguro didn't use his sword, and Kamo didn't use this move that could injure Hanami. Then Kamo goes over the plan. The plan is to constantly have Inumaki stop Hanami, and then they'll attack him, and they'll keep doing that as they run away until they can get out of the veil and find somebody who can fight Hanami. There's just so much movement as they come out of the temple. Inumaki jumps, lands on the this beam, and then jumps down. Fushiguro puts a hand up and leaps over it, and I think Kamo just jumps over it. And then we see Hanami's fucking roots come out, and Hanami's coming out on the roots, and there's just a fuck ton of movement. And it just makes me so happy that this is all 2D and there's no 3D in sight anywhere. It's just so fucking nice to have an anime that's just doing 2D. Because you can just do so much with it, and it just looks so fucking good. They're getting ready to attack Hanami again, and Fushiguro sends out his bird Nue to attack it, and it says, "Don't worry, Inumaki will stop it." And as it gets close to Hanami, we see blood, and we see that Hanami punched right through Nue, and we see that Inumaki's coughing up blood because he couldn't say stop. And I guess that's the side effect of his power, is it's destroying his throat. So Kamo turns around, he's kind of freaking out because Inumaki's already has a limit. Hanami shows up and punches him right in the face, and then creates these root balls and sends the balls after Kamo, but Fushiguro catches him and leaps back and dodges the balls, and then he puts his hands together and he's going to try and do something, but Inumaki grabs his shoulder and tells him to not do that, and then he tells Hanami to blast away, and it causes Hanami to shoot back into a roof, and then Inumaki falls over. His mouth is bleeding more. Hanami gets up and says, "You can't come in with that dull blade." And at first you think that it's a metaphor talking to Inumaki, basically saying your attack is too weak to hurt me. But then you actually see Maki appears right behind him and slashes him on the shoulder, but with Miwa's sword, but it breaks in half. So that was what he was actually referring to, is Maki. Basically letting you know that he has 360 sensory, which I believe is probably the purpose of the tree root eyes that go up here. They probably can perceive everything around Hanami. Fushiguro then shows up and cuts its tree branch eye with his black sword. He kind of reveals that those are a more fragile part of Hanami. Hanami says that sword will actually be able to hurt me, or that's a better weapon, or something like that. Then we come back to Fushiguro, and we see his putting the sword into a shadow, and he's pulling out a 3-section staff. A 3-section staff is my favorite martial arts weapon. It's really cool. A lot of martial arts, anytime I see it in an old Shaw Brothers Kung Fu movie, it's just so much fun. They're just so fucking cool. They're so versatile. They're so much fun to watch be used. So I was really fucking excited to see that. And then we have a little thing telling us that weapons have grades just like the sorcerers and the cursed spirits. There's grades 4 through 1. Makes me wonder what grade Miwa's is. But the implication with this is that the 3-section staff is a level 1. And Maki runs up and she calls it Playful Cloud, and she hits Hanami in the arm, and Hanami's like there for a second and then shoots back into the fucking woods. It's a very, very powerful weapon. That's great for this. Fushigura's run through the woods, he summons Demon Dog, and he reveals that while it's true that after his Shikigami are destroyed, he can't resummon them except for Bottomless Well. Once the Shikigami die, all the other ones get their power and techniques. And so we see Demon Dog run out, and it's like really strong now. It's bigger and has all kinds of different shit on it. It's like a chimera. It jumps at Hanami and slashes it, and actually slashes through its arm, creating a big rips in it. And then as Hanami recovers from that, Maki shows up and hits it with the black sword. And it kind of, Hanami remarks that Maki's using a different weapon now, and then Fushiguro shows up and hits it with the 3-section staff. And then they throw weapons and swap weapons. They throw the weapons at each other to swap them, which implies that this is what they've been doing in their training, was practicing using each other's weapons and stuff to work in tandem with each other, which I think is really fucking cool. At least that's my interpretation. But they both attack Hanami like that in a cross-section. One of its tree branches are destroyed. And Fushiguro asks Maki to not make him use the staff again because he doesn't like using it. I think because it's such a strong curse, it probably is hard for him to use it or something like that. It like affects him, I don't know. Because when Maki pulls it out, she says it feels disgusting. I think that's why. I don't think that Fushiguro would be complaining that a 3-section staff is too hard to wield in this particular situation, especially when it's that powerful. But as they're talking, then a plant shoots out of Fushiguro's gut. And that gets Maki's attention. She yells out Megumi, and then she turns and a fucking tree branch hits her in the arm. And then she uses the staff to break the wood. And Hanami congratulates her reflexes and says she was actually trying to hit her in the heart, which means that Maki actually moved in the last second to make it hit her in the arm. Otherwise it would have hit her in the heart and killed her. Demon Dog runs up right behind Hanami, but Fushiguro dispels it. Then Hanami explains how its technique works. It says that was a good idea because the more curse energy you expend, the deeper the roots of this plant will burrow into you because it likes to eat curse energy. And Fushiguro kind of says, well, it's a good thing you told me that because I don't know how to counter it. And then Hanami says something very interesting. It says, well, apparently if I explain my technique, it will work faster, which I think is a callback to Nanami's power. Hanami and Nanami. There's a lot of that going on in this series, like Jogo and Gojo, and, but yeah, Nanami, if you remember, said that when he explains how his power works, it makes it more effective. That was a restriction he had on it. It increases his power significantly. Normally that's an advantage against curses, but against Mahito it wasn't, because Mahito obviously can understand him and counter it. I think that's what Hanami was doing here, basically. I don't know if Hanami actually had a restriction on it about like telling them how it works makes it more effective, but that was at least what it was implying, that by telling Fushiguro how it worked, it made it more effective. In this case, it grows faster. Maki goes to attack Hanami, but it dodges her attack and then hits her, knocks her glasses off, and then it catches her with a root around its around her neck. And now that her glasses are off, she shouldn't even be able to see Hanami anymore, because she said that she can't see, since she doesn't have curse energy, she can't see nor fight curses. That's why she uses the cursed weapons, and she uses cursed glasses to see them, so she shouldn't even be able to see Hanami now. And I'll be watching very closely. Well, she's already conscious. I would have watched very closely to see if they remembered that. I was watching intently here because I could have sworn she said something to Hanami, but she doesn't. But yeah, she's like strangling, or Hanami is strangling Maki. Fushiguro is getting ready to attack, but Maki tells him to calm down because they can stop now. It's time for them to tag out, which basically means Itadori and Toto are there, and yes, they are. Itadori comes down, punches the branch, and Toto catches Maki as she falls. We cut to Momo, and she's carrying two people, and I'm not sure who she's carrying, but one of them had silver hair, and the only carrier silver hair is Inumaki. So I think she's carrying Inumaki and Kamo, which would imply the groups kind of converged and went after Hanami. So Fushiguro tells Itadori not to fight. He's worried that he's too weak, and then Panda shows up behind them. Toto tells Panda to take them away. Fushiguro's worried about Itadori, and then Toto says, you can't reach for those who have begun growing wings, which I think means that Itadori's growing, he's becoming more independent, and Fushiguro can't stop him from kind of going off on his own. That's my interpretation anyways. Fushiguro then tells Itadori if he dies again, then he will kill himself. Fushiguro will kill himself if Itadori dies again. And then Panda tells Fushiguro it's time to go, and he has both Maki and Fushiguro on his arms. He's running away, and he fucking yells out "Pandash" as he's running away, like Panda, but Pandash is fucking funny scene. I would have liked to see him fight Hanami, but you have to remember he's lost two of his cores, so he's kind of fucked right now because of Megamaru. Or Mekamaru. Toto walks out of the river, because we're standing in the river, and tells Itadori he won't help him until he lands Black Flash. And if he can't land Black Flash, then he's just going to let Itadori die. Hanami starts kind of analyzing Toto, realizing he's really confident and brazen, and says that he doesn't have as much curse energy as him, but his technique is obviously very powerful, and so Hanami says this is why I have to be on guard. Itadori then gets really pissed off and asks Hanami, since he can talk, if he's allied with Mahito. Hanami says, so what if I am? And Itadori gets really pissed off, strikes the ground to send up a wave of water and rocks and stuff, and then rushes at Hanami. Hanami congratulates him for not being careless, even though he's angry. Itadori jumps up and he kicks, like Hanami in the gut, kicks him in the arm, and then kicks him in the head. And then Itadori lands, and Hanami's off guard, and he's trying to land Black Flash, but he's thinking about Fushiguro, he's thinking about Junpei, and when he punches him, nothing happens. Because he was too angry, so then Toto asks him to come there, and Toto slaps him in the face and tells him that anger is good and it can help draw on power, but if you don't control your anger, then it'll basically get you off guard and make you make mistakes and stuff, and there's no way he can control his power when he's angry. So then he explains, he sends Itadori back out there. Itadori's ready for round 2. And Toto begins explaining what Black Flash is. It's built up a little more than it actually is effective or like given like flair, in my opinion. But he basically explains Black Flash is a really powerful attack, and the entirety of the attack is released in a trillionth of a second. So like the whole power of the impact is like translated, you know, in a trillionth of a second, which basically is just really fast. Like however fast Itadori punches it, it'll like the attack comes out faster, I guess. It's really bizarre and hard to understand, but it also is so fast that it will distort space itself. So Itadori goes out there and he starts clearing his mind, and it causes him to kind of begin drooling because he's just completely like blanking out his mind to focus on fighting. Hanami praises him for his concentration and runs at him, and then Itadori runs up and fucking uses Black Flash to punch Hanami. Hanami's like, oh shit, and flies back. Toto says the Black Flash is 2.5 times more powerful than a normal attack or something like that. And yeah, I don't think it was as big as it was built up to be. Like when Itadori hits Hanami, it hits Hanami and Hanami goes back and like the water shoots up like that, but you're expecting a little more from the actual attack. It just looks like a really strong punch. So for the episode being called Black Flash, I didn't feel like that was quite a super attack that I was expecting. But it does destroy Hanami's hand. Hanami's hand is gone, and that's about the only thing you can really tell that it did. But then the interesting thing is that each door's curse energy is now like a pale blue, as opposed to like the black and turquoise it was before. Now it's like a pale blue, and it's really calm. And Toto says that once you experience Black Flash, you are closer to the core of cursed energy. And I have no idea what the fuck that means. He says basically the distance between them are like heaven and earth. But I guess if cursed energy has like a core and everyone's pulling power from it, reaching it would be like enlightenment, I guess, and having like being one with cursed energy or something. I don't fucking know. But essentially, you're not even on the right path to going toward it until you hit Black Flash, and then you're like at a point that can begin moving toward it. And it shows Utahime someone else, I think himself, I'm not sure. It might have been the principal, I don't remember. And then it shows Nanami and Gojo. And I guess that means they're the only ones who have experienced Black Flash so far. So Black Flash is not really as much a technique as it is. It is a technique, but it's not like a Jujutsu technique. It's just a technique to introduce you to the concept of Jujutsu, really. Because he goes on to explain that with a quick analogy, like, so far you've just been throwing ingredients in randomly, but now you've got a taste for what cursed energy really is. So essentially now Itadori kind of knows what it's like to use cursed energy really and understand cursed energy, know what cursed energy is. He says it'd be like if you actually understood the flavor of the ingredients and could understand the flavor of the ingredients as you're putting it into a dish. That's basically how he explains it. They see Hanami heal its hand, and Itadori is shocked that it can heal from that. Toto says that curses can heal because they're made of cursed energy, but it's not infinite. It costs them cursed energy to heal, and also if you destroy their head, then they just can't heal from that and you win. That's how they can kill it. So then Toto and Itadori both like do a pose like that. It looked really weird. It almost looked like Toto was like puppeteering Itadori a little bit. And then Hanami finally rips off that big binding it had on and reveals that it had a second arm. It's like a black arm and it has a big rosebud on it. And this is what I've really been looking forward to with Hanami. Hanami, I believe I said, was like the most striking of the curses that I saw in that initial meeting with them. With it, Jogo, Geto, and the octopus. Hanami was the one that caught my eye, and I thought that one looks like the most powerful, that one looks like the most imposing, and I really want to see more of that one, and we're finally getting that, and I just enjoyed all of this. And then we just get fucking crazy Sakuga. Fucking Hanami just starts summoning fucking roots, and Toto and Itadori jump up, and they're running all across the roots, and the camera's just going everywhere, and they're fucking... everything's just moving. It's just insane amounts of Sakuga here. Mappa really went all out. Yeah, you really wish you saw this for their other properties right now, like Attack on Titan. where just 2D all out movement, crazy animation. But at least we're getting it here. Hanami's just creating all kinds of roots. It's fucking crazy. Hanami gets up above them and like does that and flicks out these somethings, just like stems, I guess. Itadori and Toto both dodge it, and then they both spin and jump up on the roots, and they both punch Hanami at the same time, knock it back. And then they start running toward it again, and Itadori tells Toto that he wants to match their timing better. And Toto agrees, but before they can reach Hanami, it completely dispels all of the roots. And Toto says, damn, I thought that the roots were from the ground and that Hanami was just manipulating them, but actually Hanami's creating them. So he underestimated how much power it really had and says this is a really powerful cursed spirit. And it's still standing on a ball of fucking roots, and then it shoots roots out while they're falling in the air since they can't dodge it. And Toto says, oh, that's going to be tough. But then they call out to each other and they place their feet on each other and kick off of each other to dodge the roots. And Hanami's like shocked that they could even do that. Hanami says that it's starting to feel something. And he thinks back to a conversation he had with Mahito on that beach where we first meet Mahito. And Mahito basically tells Hanami that he needs to be more honest with himself. And Hanami doesn't understand what Mahito means by that. And Mahito didn't explain it quite that well either. But he basically says, like, you are working toward a purpose, but you aren't doing anything else. You aren't enjoying yourself. There's more to life than just pursuing a goal. And Mahito basically talks about, like, up until this point, I would deceive and manipulate and use people, but I was content with that. But after fighting Nanami and Itadori, Mahito learned to enjoy battle and learned the pleasures and kind of the enjoyment of it. And so now Mahito has like a deeper understanding, feels like he's more in tune with his soul. And he believes just as humans have instincts and it drives them to work and sleep and eat and fuck and all this shit, that curses also have to have their instincts, and that part of the living, part of the soul is to both have will and like pursue goals and have ambition, but also to pursue your instincts and satisfy your desires and stuff. And basically tells Hanami that Hanami needs to enjoy fighting and enjoy its experiences while also pursuing its goals. And basically the thing with this is that the curses are becoming more human. It's like a perversion of their ideals. They are becoming human. They want to destroy humans, but in the process of that, they are becoming human themselves and getting human desires and human emotions and stuff. It makes sense for Mahito, but he's also having that effect on all the other curses as well. This is the first time this would be explored in anime where like the protagonist is becoming the monster, or the antagonist is becoming the human, like that's been done before. None of the human characters are becoming curses yet, but I'm assuming that that's the direction it'll start moving in, since the curses are becoming human. I'm assuming that's where we're going to go with this. The humans will become kind of numb and discard their emotions, while the curses develop emotions and kind of become more, have, I guess, more camaraderie and stuff and respect for each other, and probably even have bonds where if one of them dies, they'll all get angry and have like a fucking, like how Mahito had that fucking I don't want to die moment, right? And I said, that's like something that a protagonist would have, so it's weird to see an antagonist have that. They'll probably have a moment like that where one of them dies and they'll get resolved to do better and fight harder because one of them have died. And I already said it was weird that they were resolved to be martyrs for a cause. But we're just seeing more of that, I guess, where the curses are kind of becoming human. So I'm very interested to see where that's going to go. And then Mahito accuses Hanami of being stronger. And they don't say more than that, but I think what that means is Hanami is the strongest of the curses. And Hanami pretends that it's weaker than it really is. So that implication is that it's holding back right now against Todo and Itadori, and it has a lot more it can do. And I had a feeling Hanami would be the strongest curses. Hanami looked always like the most imposing of them. So that would seem to be confirmed here. Itadori and Todo are in the trees as they landed. Itadori asks Todo if he's okay. Todo says he's fine. He's kind of hanging upside down. And then Itadori rushes Hanami and starts fighting it. And he's kind of saying, well, then Todo comes and starts attacking, and they're saying, like, it's used up so much curse energy, it's got to be tired, we have to be able to win here. Hanami sends flowers at them. I think these were the flowers that made Gojo and Itadori, like, they, like, neutralized their fighting instincts and, like, made them kind of calm down and content. And then sends some tree roots out of the ground toward them, and they dodge those. And Hanami basically says, Mahito, I'm enjoying a fight. Basically saying it's getting enjoyment out of this, same way Mahito was. And then Todo says, alright, Itadori, try to use my technique. And I think we already saw his technique where he made Kamo and Itadori switch places, so you can just clap and it'll switch places with stuff. I think that's... Maybe he has more than one technique, I don't know, but as far as I know, that's his Jujutsu. If we can go back to what I talked about a long time ago, where Gojo told Itadori he can learn Kamehameha and stuff, that would imply that you can learn more than one Jujutsu. You can basically learn anybody's. So Todo could have developed multiple. It would also imply that Itadori can learn multiple. And then we get the ending, and then we have Juju stroll about the butcher. He's walking around, and Mahito asks him what kind of coat rack he would make out of Gojo. And he kind of starts talking about he would take his coccyx and his pelvis and use those as the base and cut up the femurs and use those to kind of his feet to kind of stabilize it. And then he would use the spine as like the main part of the coat rack, but he would take artificial things and carve them as extra vertebrae to increase the size of it. And then he would obviously create little pegs to put on it to hang shit. And that's how he would do the coat rack. And then he says something about putting a leather over his skull or something, but they don't show that. So I didn't think to write it down because they didn't show it, so I don't think it was important. And the next preview, I don't actually remember what it showed. I don't think it showed too much more of the fight between Hanami, Itadori, and Todo, so I think that's going to an end soon. But I don't remember actually what it showed at all, now that I think about it. I know it showed Hanami. I know it's going to have a little bit of their fight. But I think the episode actually is going to be focused on something else. Maybe it would be focused on the butcher. I don't know. But as far as my thoughts on this episode, it was a great episode. Probably my favorite episode of the whole fucking series so far. Favorite episode of the season for sure. Trump's Nanami versus Mahito. Trump's fucking Mahito versus Nanami and Itadori. This was just a fucking incredible fight. I mean, this is what I'm talking about with, like, what I enjoy from animes. A fight that lasts multiple episodes, that just keeps going, doesn't stop. It's not cutting away from them. It's probably going to the next episode, but this episode is all about what's going on with Hanami. Characters are coming and going out of the fight, but we're not cutting away from the fight. And I appreciate that. And Hanami really does feel like an imposing force. That they're not going to, I already know they're not going to defeat Hanami, not here. This isn't how the series is going to go. If Jogo didn't die to Gojo, Hanami's not dying here. This is a very different series from generic shonen. And I'm happy about that, because one of my biggest issues in anime was when I was watching Naruto Shippuden and the Akatsuki. As soon as we start really meeting them, they fucking start dying. And it's like, well, that was... We had so much build up for them being the most powerful people ever, and they're just gonna start dying. But we don't see that here. Instead, Hanami's just a fucking monster, and as much as you see Chidori and Todo getting the better of it, they're gonna tire out, and Hanami's gonna be fine, and Hanami's just gonna fucking destroy them if someone doesn't get through this veil. I don't know what Utahime can do. I already said it doesn't seem like she can fight. It seems like she has something of a different Jujutsu ability that's probably just used to help people escape. But I don't know. God, I haven't even seen what the squid or Geto can do, but I just want to see a fucking all-out fight between Mahito, Hanami, Jogo, Geto, and the octopus, and Gojo. That'd be a fucking crazy fight. But yeah, this is exactly what I want to see with a fight. Once again, great animation this episode. None of the awkward posing I was complaining about. None of the stiff movements. Everything was fluid and fast and looked like incredible. I can't criticize this. It was literally a perfect episode. Just fucking incredible. I'm sad there's only a few episodes left of the season because goddamn, I could just watch this fucking shit forever. What's crazy is that this series has like been 90% fights, and there's people who criticize shonen anime for having too many fights and not enough story. And it's like, bro, this series has been like 90% fights, and people are just eating the shit out of it. They're eating it up, and it's like, so y'all like fights? Of course, everybody likes fights. I don't know why anyone would criticize the series for having fights. And this is a great fight. I don't usually like modern shonen fights, but this is a great fucking fight. This series has had great fights so far. The only one I really criticized was Nanami vs. Mito because we cut away from it. Right in the middle of it, and I hated that. Like I said, I think we're probably going to cut away from this as well. But that's okay. We had a full episode focusing on this, so it'd be okay. But that's all my opinions for this episode. Fantastic. Can't wait to see more of it. Yeah. Episode 19 is a high, and I just cannot see them topping this shit. Well, not for a long time.